I am blaming Kim for the tardiness of this episode. Holy crap, I was supposed to record like literally 2 hours ago, and I am on a serious time crunch today because I have to go to the shop and move stuff in. See what I did there? See what I did there? Yeah, the shop. Your boy's got official retail space, and it is lit. Murph's Car Town and Sports Shop is a go. That is the major announcement that we have today on the books. That is what I was alluding to on Friday. That is unfortunately why I had to cancel Friday's episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk, is because I did have a ton of painting and moving around at the shop, and I just wasn't able to be back home in time to record Friday's episode. I really wanted to. I could have, but it wouldn't have come out until like 1 in the morning, and at that point, it's not even Friday, and at that point, I just didn't think it was going to be worth it to just produce a ragtag episode just to put it out there. So I thought it was a better idea to just kind of cancel it altogether, save that episode for today. And I do have to go at very soon, actually. I have a friend coming over, my homie Adilson, helping me move boxes of cards from the house to the shop. He's coming at 2 o'clock. It is currently 1:16 in the afternoon right now, so I'm going to have to fly through this episode. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a shorter episode, and there's going to be a lot of stuff jam-packed into this episode. That's just unfortunately how it is. I could pause it, come back to it like later in the afternoon, and just kind of finish recording to make it less rushed, I guess. But I feel like that's just not the way to go, and that's just not the way I want to do things with this podcast. So I'm going to try to jam it all into, I don't know, like 40 or so minutes. Give me a few minutes to upload it to iMovie and then just distribute it through all the other listening applications and the youtube.com. But before we talk about anything at all, hopefully you had a fantastic week in reference to last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm hoping that you had a fantastic weekend, which was obviously Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I am so happy that you can join me today for episode 74 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host, James Murphy. And how are you doing? If you are asking me in return, I am doing just peachy. Thank you. I am fresh as lettuce, and I could not be in any better of a mood than I am right now. Holy crap. It is so good to just, the stress of finding the shop location is gone. I can focus on moving the stuff in. I can focus on doing the podcast. It's just going to be an absolute joyride. But with all that being said, we do have a lot of stuff to talk about today. I do have a couple of pointers, and I'm just trying to get some stuff on the screen so I don't forget what I need to talk about, because there's a lot of stuff that happened basically over the course of a week, and I want to make sure that I touch every single topic, and I want to try to go in order, kind of in order of when things happened. Obviously, the major announcement being the first thing that happened on Thursday is when I signed the papers. It's Thursday when I signed the papers for the Leafs, yes. So I guess we'll exclude that from this chronological list of topics I want to get to. So obviously the first one being the home run derby. What an absolute performance by Pete Alonso. Holy crap. And Trey Mancini, did not expect him to perform nearly as fantastic as he did. And also Salvador Perez hit 28 home runs in the first round and lost to Pete Alonso, who smashed 35. So, I mean, give the man some respect. I sure as hell didn't, but did he prove me wrong? He hit more home runs than anybody else did in the first round besides the guy he lost to in Pete Alonso. Wow, that was a great home run derby. I just wish the broadcast was better. Seriously, I'm sick and tired of the boring home run derby podcast. Like, there's just no excitement. It's just like, there's the ball, deep, and that one's gone. There's the pitch, fly ball, center field, doesn't have enough on it. Like, it's just so dry. Like, you got to put some effort and some momentum and some energy into it. Like, oh, and he just crushed it. Oh, my God. Did that hit the scoreboard? I think it did. What a blast. And here's another one. Like, that. Give us that energy, and that's what we want. But I don't want to spend too much time about the the home run derby, because I do want to spend a little time on the All-Star game itself and then baseball itself. And the first thing I want to touch upon is the All-Star game, of course, and that was on Tuesday. Now, there's a couple reports coming out about the All-Star game and its ratings, right? And I have an article, a little paragraph on the HollywoodReporter.com. I forget who wrote it. I took a screenshot of it, but I didn't get the guy or the girl who wrote it. So pardon me for not giving credit where credit is due, which is something I like to do. Bars. Anyways, the paragraph that I screenshotted says, Tuesday's telecast delivered 8.24 million viewers, about 100,000 more than the 2019 game's 8.14 million. Last year's All-Star game was canceled due to the pandemic. It's also worth noting that the Nielsen figures for Tuesdays include out-of-home viewing and 2019's does not. Still, the audience for the All-Star game is in keeping with both improved ratings for the baseball season, including Monday's Home Run Derby on ESPN, and a general uptick for sports following last year's pandemic-snarled calendar. Now, there's a couple things I want to take away from that, but first, let me read you this other article, which is just a post I believe I found on Twitter from Talkin' Baseball. And the post said, the game, which peaked with 8.90 million from 9 to 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, comfortably outdrew the NBA All-Star Game on TNT and TBS in March, who's had 5.94 million, as well as the most recent Pro Bowl in January out of last year, with the Pro Bowl receiving $7.97 million viewers. Now, people were commenting saying, oh, baseball's not dying. Baseball is better than basketball. It's better than football. And I will let those people have their opinions. I love baseball as much as anyone. It's my favorite sport. You all know that. You also know that I am a firm believer that the sport is dying. These All-Star Game viewer ratings are not good. They're not good. 8.9 million for a 15-minute period where it averaged 8.24 million is not good. All right? There was no All-Star Game in 2020, so there's nothing to compare to that. We just have 2019s to compare off of, being the most recent one outside of this year. Now, without the All-Star Game last year, going 2 years without the event, you would think a lot of people would want to tune in because, hey, it's been 2 years. Hey, Vlad Jr. is a star. Fernando Tatis is the face of baseball. Shohei Ohtani is pitching and hitting in the game. You would think there would be many more people invested into this game. The Red Sox have 5 All-Star players in the game. Aaron Judge is one of the best up-and-coming players. Max Scherzer making his 4th All-Star game start. It's like there's all these major and minor headlines, major league-wide headlines or major local headlines. Like for the Nationals, obviously 4 All-Star game starts for Max Scherzer. That's a big deal, right? Aaron Judge being in the All-Star game is a big deal for New York. Vlad Jr., Fernando Tatis, Shohei Ohtani, those are all major league-wide headlines. It's just like to only have 100,000 more viewers from not last year, but the last All-Star game in 2019 is pathetic. It sincerely is pathetic. And I'm going to completely exclude the Home Run Derby from this. I don't have numbers for those. I don't want numbers for those. All right? And for people to say that that baseball, Major League Baseball, is in a better position than football, the NFL, and basketball being the NBA, based off of these numbers, that let's not even include the peak here. Let's just include the average, because the average is a much more telling number, being 8.24 million viewers. That is what baseball's All-Star Game averaged. And then the All-Star Game for the National Basketball Association averaged 5.94 million, and the Pro Bowl averaged 7.97. Now, we all can agree, right? We all can agree that the NBA's All-Star Game is a joke. It's pathetic. It is not good basketball. It's just people dribbling, dumb threes, dunks, breakaways. There's no defense. There's little to no effort. People are trying not to be injured. They're just kind of showcasing nothing really. We all know you can shoot a three. We all know that you can hit a dunk or like slam down a dunk. We all know that you can pass a couple times for a fast break. But we want to see LeBron James, Steph Curry, Giannis, Jason Tatum getting his first start, Jaylen Brown elected to his first All Star game, Luka Doncic. We want to see those guys playing together at the highest level. Because outside of the All Star game, we're not going to see the league's best players until the NBA Finals, where theoretically the best players in the league, or at least the best teams, should be in the finals, and the best teams should have the best players. So we're never going to see this matchup of superstars, stars, up-and-coming stars, veterans, ever again, except for one night a year at the All-Star Game. And we all know that the All-Star Game in basketball is good for at least 140, 50, 60 points. Easy. For one team. It's so unbearable. And I've gone on so many rants about the NBA. I've gone on so many rants about the Celtics. How it's just dribble, shoot three, dribble, make a move, dunk. Minimal defense. There's no more twos. People look for fouls. In the All-Star Game, people aren't fouling. It's just such a watered-down product. It really is. And I understand people aren't going 1,000% because they don't want to tear an ACL. They don't want to roll an ankle. They have bigger picture in mind being the rest of their team's regular season, right? And I totally get that. And I totally understand that. But this product is so terrible. It's abysmal to watch. I can't even watch it. I used to love the NBA All Star Game. I used to absolutely love it. But now it's just, I couldn't even watch basketball, period, this year. Because it's so watered down. And it's just such a bad product. It really is. And then the Pro Bowl. Now, the Pro Bowl has done things to actually kind of make it more competitive and more safe at the same time. So if there's receiver catches the ball, he goes into the cornerback, 1 second, he's not down, plays immediately dead. You can only rush 3 or 4 guys at once, so there's no blitzing. What else have they done? I think they took away PATs, so you have to go for 2, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really watch it all too much. But they've done some stuff to make it interesting and make it competitive. I think they've even incentivized the winners even. So as bad as the Pro Bowl has gotten in terms of reputation, it's at least trying. Because yes, football is one of the most dangerous sports, arguably the most dangerous sport. And in a period where this long, rough, terrible season, maybe terrible, but long, physical, battling, really mentally challenging season, physically challenging season for players. And at whatever time, whether it's the end of the regular season, the wild card, divisional, or the championship game, they got to go to, I think it's been Orlando the past few years now, to play a meaningless game. And there's some skill competitions. You get to link up with, the rest of the league's best players. And they try to make a big old week out of it. And, they show the practices. They usually have celebrity coaches, former players. It's at least trying. It's at least trying to make this product interesting. So it's not just, a blowout one way. Or if it's not just, 40-40 or 50-50. I think last year's it was 20-30 or something like that. I don't even know what it was. 2020 Pro Bowl. Now, I could be completely wrong. 33-38. Okay, so I was a little off there. Let's see. What about the 2019 Pro Bowl? Because there's one year that was 26-7. But at least that's a blowout, yes. But it's not it's not like basketball's All-Star Game where it's just you're just chucking up threes and it's 150-150. And I think a few years back they even tried to completely get rid of conferences, and they had a Pro Bowl draft where I think it was Deion Sanders and I don't even know, Jerry Rice maybe, and they would they were the captains / coaches, and they would pick a team and pick players based off of who they wanted for their team. The effort is there to make this product better. Now, 7.97 million viewers for last year's Pro Bowl. I don't know if that's high. I don't know if that's low. Average, going up, going down. I don't care. The Pro Bowl game for the not Pro Bowl game, the All Star game for basketball is 5.94 million. I don't know if that's up, down, too high, too low, average, just about right. I don't care. Right now, all I care about is baseball's All Star game because that is what is in front of us, and quite frankly, that's the one that I care the most about. Now, I'm not saying that I don't care about the other ones. I will happily watch the other ones when the product gets good. I wasn't able to actually watch this year's All Star game because A, I don't have cable, and B, there is no B. All right, but 8.24 million viewers. Yes, it's up 100,000 viewers from 2019's All Star game. Yippee. Yes, it's up. Yippee. Yes, it's higher than basketball and the football's respective All Star game / Pro Bowl. Yippee. But this All Star game in the late 90s was at like 22 million or whatever it was. I saw a statistic, or at least I heard on the radio maybe. 22 million was like the average viewership the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And then I think it dipped all the way down to 14 million in 2002, the year that the All-Star game tied in Milwaukee. And people were panicking. They were frantic that the sport was going to collapse, that the game was going to die, and that people lost interest in baseball. Me, the commissioner, and all the teams right now would die for 14 million average viewers. Would absolutely die. But where has this game gone in 20 years? Roughly 20 years. You went from 22 million, and I think in like the 80s it was even like near 30, all the way down to 8.24. And you're going to tell me that baseball is in a better spot than football or basketball? I will give you basketball. I will give you the argument that it could be better than basketball, or at least in a better situation than basketball. But football, no shot. No shot. People love football way too much, and that will forever be this country's number one sport, whether you like it or not. Now, what can happen to go from 8.24 and saying that this sport is better than football, basketball, and to say that it's not dying? Look at the history. It is dropping off, or it has dropped off. I guess this year in 2019's All-Star game, it's actually going up, technically. But look at the statistics. How can you not tell me that it's not a dying sport? So to counteract that argument, I have another statistic from Twitter, MLB Communications at MLB_PR, and it had first half consumption for Major League Baseball for the 2021 season. And the tweet says, the first half of the 2021 MLB season has seen significant increases in media consumption compared to 2020. Now, before I even look at these statistics, I will say this. 2020 was a different year. It was interesting. The rules were very amended for that year. Let's see. The extra base runner, was that? I think that was a thing last year. NL had DH. You only got 5 mound visits. 16 teams made the playoffs or whatever it was. People were starting to go back to work a little bit, come baseball season, maybe not. Also, a lot of people were inside. Were they not, satisfied with, the product of baseball? What could it have been? Could have been the return of the basketball and hockey playoffs. And then when the season got into September, it was the return of football that showed low numbers, because national televised games in 2021 on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is up 26% from last year. Now, it doesn't tell me, this photo from MLB Communications does not say what last year's 2020 numbers were for these respective national televised networks. Does not tell me what it was. It just says up a percentage. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball in 2021 is up 26% in terms of viewership compared to 2020. Fox Saturday Baseball is up 32%. TBS is up 49%. Fox Sports 1 up 78%. And then MLB Network is up 34%. How is the sport not dying when it is reeling in numbers like that? Here's how. Baseball was shortened to 60 games last year, which a lot of people did not like. Some people did, some people didn't. Also, all the rule changes, COVID was still going around. The whole, the St. Louis Cardinals had like 25 games canceled. They were playing doubleheaders day in and day out. Oh, and plus the doubleheaders, the 7-inning doubleheaders was another thing people really hated and still do. Conversation for another day. Also, like I mentioned, the return of the hockey playoffs, return of basketball playoffs. Then come September, you had football. People weren't going to really pay attention to this season because when it's only a 60-game season and it's normally 162, a lot of people said, screw it, this is the year to kind of tank for a high draft pick or, kind of really focus on rebuilding because no one's going to take it seriously because it's only 60 games. The winner of the World Series is going to have an asterisk. It's not going to really matter. So they just didn't care about 2020. And obviously, like I said, everything going on with COVID, everything going on in society just gives them more reasons to not invest into the sport, especially where the sport is A, already so divided, and B, there's already a rift between the players' union and the league. So that is why that these increases from last year to this year are so drastic. Because yes, people are actually still invested in baseball. And yes, you could look at Sunday Night Baseball, 26, Fox, Saturday, 32, TBS 49, FS 178, and MLB Network are all up by their own percentage, MLB Network being 34%. But that doesn't mean the sport is thriving. Look at history. It is ticking down, 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 down. Look at the All Star Game. Another example. The sport is thriving this year only in comparison to last year. That's it. Could we point to specific players and say they're helping the league in their ratings? Absolutely. Look at Shohei Ohtani. A major reason why this league is thriving this year. Fernando Tatis Jr., Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the faces of baseball are the reason why baseball is thriving this year. But when you look at it in comparison to last year, the sport's booming. No way it's dying. But let's look at it over a 5-year sample, a 10-year sample. And no matter how many years back you go, there was faces of baseball then. 5 years ago, Mike Trout. 10 years ago, who would you pick? Derek Jeter maybe. Mike Trout was 2011 was 1 year or rookie, whatever it may be. 15 years ago, you still had, Jeter, you still had A-Rod, Ortiz, Manny. Like, you still had all those guys. There were stars back then to be the face of baseball, just like there is now. The only difference is social media and media coverage, which serves the benefit of baseball. But do not let the 2020 and the 2021 comparisons fool you. This sport is still dying and still needs help. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. And I hope that my expansion video that I animated and I released on Thursday illustrates why that baseball is dying and it needs help, whether it's through expansion, whether it's through relocation, whether it's through media coverage, stars, rule changes. Something needs to change for baseball because, yes, 2021 looks nice and compared to 2020, but let's dive deeper and look at it in 2019, 2018, 5 years ago, 10 years, so on and so forth. You get the picture. That's what I want you to look. Look at the bigger picture. Don't just be fooled for a one-off. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, baseball still needs help. It is still dying. Anyways, enough with the whole, moping about baseball stuff. I'm very happy that the product is doing well this year. Could it help the game moving forward? Absolutely. Could we see, things improve next year and the year after that? Absolutely. I'm not going to exclude that. However, in comparison to what we have in years past, this is my reaction and my thoughts now. Obviously, 5 years from now, it could be completely different. It could be more depressing. It could be more exciting. It could be Who knows? That's 5 years from now. We don't know, but I'm going based off of what we do have at our hands in terms of statistical data for the game. But enough about baseball. I do want to talk about the next topic on hand, and that is, let's see, which one do I want to pick? I'll pick Jarren Duran. He's supposed to make his Major League debut on Thursday. Game got canceled Friday. Made his Major League debut on Friday, and boy, was it a great game. Although the Red Sox lost 3-1 to the New York Yankees in the rain-shortened game, however, it was beautiful nonetheless to see Jarren Duran get his first at-bat. First pitch he sees, base hit right up the middle, right off Garrett Cole. And this is an article from Nesson written by Adam London. He wrote a good article talking about Duran's first game, his first at-bat, his approach, the first pitch, the first hit, all that good stuff. So this is what I'm just going to kind of breeze through, him getting called up, the game last night, whatever. Or not last night, on Friday. Anyways, knowing the caliber of pitcher Cole is, Duran wanted to be aggressive in the batter's box. Quote, I was hoping he'd throw me a fastball, end quote. Duran told reporters after the game per Mass Live. Quote, he's a really good pitcher, so I wanted to make sure I got my pitch before he started to dice me up. I guess that worked in my favor and I got a fastball first pitch, end quote. Duran also explained the effect of picking up a hit in his first Major League Baseball at-bat. Quote, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, end quote, Duran told reporters. Quote, I was like, okay, I can relax now. Just getting that first one out of the way, end quote. It was fantastic to see Jarren Duran up here with the Red Sox, and he actually contributed, getting a base hit. And you know what? The future is bright for that kid. It really is. A lot of people are saying that, it could be Polar Park. He could just be going through, a good stretch down in Worcester. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. Things are going good for him right now, and I'm very excited to see where things will go for him for the Red Sox. However, that does bring me to my next point, because in addition to Jarren Duran, the Red Sox also called up Tanner Houck. Now, what does this mean for the team? You bring up two of your better prospects for a series in New York, roughly 2 weeks before the trade deadline. Why? Why now? Why not before? Why not after? Here's why. I've sat here and said that the Red Sox need to make a move at the deadline. Bring up to trade a lefty back, get another outfielder, move Kike to second base. I kind of put pitching to the back burner because Chris Sale's coming back. Tanner Houck will come back to the big leagues. The bullpen's doing really good. Sale or Houck could be a sixth starter in that rotation because that rotation's doing solid. But the Red Sox called these two guys up because they want to see if Duran and or Houck is the answer for their current team needs. If Jarren Duran turns out to be a 350 hitter for the rest of this season, hitting 15 home runs and driving in like 50 RBIs, then there's no need to trade for a guy. Obviously, that's, for the rest of the season. I'm just saying, like next 2 weeks, right? Say he still hits like, 350, hits like 5 home runs and drives in like 25 RBIs. Then he's your answer for that left-handed bat in your lineup, that fourth outfielder. He's your answer. If Tanner Houck comes up and he's either pitching dynamically out of the bullpen, or if he's, starting, going 6-7 strong innings, giving up 0, 1 or 2 runs every start, then he's your answer for your pitching needs. Plus, you'll have Chris Sale coming back at some point, and there'll be no need to go out and make a move for a left-handed bat or another pitcher, whether it's in the bullpen or in the rotation, because you had the answer in-house. That is why the timing of this move is so important, because you have 2 weeks before the Major League Baseball trade deadline to go improve your team. Now, regardless how good these guys play, whether they become studs, whether they become duds, you still have to go make a move anyways. Now, obviously, you may be less likely to go acquire a pitcher because you have Houck, because you have Chris Sale coming back. Sure, I've said putting pitching needs on the back burner, focus on the lineup right now to help with the consistency. Jarren Duran could be a huge part of that. Regardless if he is or not, I still think another bat is key in your lineup, especially a lefty bat. Saw Bobby Dahlbeck get sat. Was it last night's game against New York? Christian Arroyo got his first start at first base after taking a few days to practice there. He actually got injured in the third inning, and Bobby Dahlbeck replaced him. So we don't really know the status of Christian Arroyo just yet moving forward. However, I still think that as well as Arroyo has been playing, I don't know if he's the answer there defensively and offensively, because I'm not sold on him offensively. I know he's been playing well and hitting the ball very well when he's in the lineup. And unfortunately, he is a little injury prone, no fault to his own, with collisions at, with Kike, and then obviously overstretching at first base. But these are things you need to consider. You got to be able to rely on players. And also, he's not a left-handed bat, and I really think the Red Sox need a left-handed bat in that lineup. Red Sox need to make moves, regardless how good Jarren Duran and or Tanner Houck play. They have to. They have to keep up with the Astros. They need to stay ahead of the Rays. Don't let the Yankees get hot. The Chicago White Sox are a force in the Central. The Athletics are serious contenders, or at least serious West contenders for the American League as well. So you have those teams to worry about. And I'm not even going to talk about the National League because you do have some National League opponents to still play. And also come the World Series when you're playing one of the National League teams. Getting way ahead of myself there. Let's focus between now and the next 2 weeks. That is my thoughts on Jarren Duran and Tanner Houck being called up, especially the timing of when they're called up with only 2 weeks before the trade deadline. Now, the last and final thing I want to talk about is the Boston Bruins protected list. It has finally been released for the 2021 NHL expansion draft for the Seattle Kraken. This is basically what I expected. I thought I just knocked off my headset for a second. This is basically what I expected. So the Bruins did decide to choose the 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, 1 goalie option. They chose to forego the 8 skater and 1 goalie option, which I expected. They decided to protect Patrice Bergeron, Charlie Coyle, Jake DeBrusk, Brad Marchand, Trent Frederick, David Pastrnak, Craig Smith, Brandon Carlo, Matt Grzelcyk, Charlie McAvoy, and Daniel Vladar. Now, just pause really quickly. They do not need to protect Jeremy Swayman because he has 0 or only 1 year of experience. So, rookies and 1-year players do not need to be protected all across NHL. Exposed players, I'm just going to read off a couple notables. David Krejci, Taylor Hall, Andre Kasha, Nick Ritchie, Chris Wagner, Sean Corrali, Curtis Lazar, Tuukka, Yaroslav Halak, Jacob Zaboral, Jeremy Lozon, Connor Clifton, Mike Riley, just to name a few. Now, where do the Seattle Kraken go? Before I answer that, let me go back to who the Bruins protected, and that is Jake DeBrusk. I'm very surprised they protected him. I am, and I'm not at the same time. I am because it would have been a good bait for the Seattle Kraken to pick, so you can kind of keep Clifton and Jeremy Lozon, because those two are good young defensemen, and that's hard to come by in the league, and that is going to be very salivating for the Seattle Kraken to take, especially being, a new team in the league. Obviously wanted to, stash up on good defenseman players where you could probably find a Jake DeBrusk-like player almost anywhere. The Bruins more than likely protected him to either trade him or they still have hope and confidence that he can perform for this team in the 2021-2022 season. I had no doubt in my mind that they weren't going to go with the 8 skater, 1 goalie option. But let's look at the exposed players though. Krejci, Hall, Kasha, Ritchie, Tuukka, Yaroslav Halak, and the Bruins already said they're going to go their separate ways, so I don't really care. Krejci, Hall, and Tuukka Rask are all on expired contracts. It would be stupid, absolutely stupid for the Seattle Kraken to pick any of them, because come July something, 21st maybe, I think it is. I don't even know what day they become. No, because the league is in a roster freeze. I forget what day that they become official free agents. But the Kraken are going to have, 4 days or something like that to, negotiate contracts with them. And, there could be, a hint, hint, wink, wink, nod kind of thing going with the Bruins and like a Hall or a Krejci to be like, hey, we're going to leave you unprotected. Protect these guys to make sure our team is better. Don't sign a contract. We're going to sign you. We'll agree to this deal. Both sides will be like, okay. And then that is that. Because when the player, say David Krejci, for example, gets picked by the Kraken, goes to Seattle, try to work out a deal. He says, no, I want $15 million. That's obviously something that's not going to happen. Sorry for the dog that you hear barking. Kim has a friend over and she brought her dog. Anyways, the Kraken say, what the fuck? No, we're not going to give you $15 million a year for 10 years. He becomes a free agent whenever that date is. And then he just signs with the Bruins to whatever that predetermined deal number, length, and all that good stuff was. That's why I'm kind of surprised that Brandon Carlo deal was done when it was. I kind of assumed that there might have been a little wink, nod there. So they could kind of keep Jeremy Lozon or Connor Clifton, even Mike Riley. So it's just, the way that things kind of shaked up was very interesting. But you know what? I like this list altogether. I'm not mad that Jake DeBrusk is protected. I just hope that he actually turns out to be who the Bruins want him to be, and obviously what us fans want him to be. And additionally, if the plan is to trade him, you better get a good damn package back, because if you lose Lozon or Clifton and your return for Jake DeBrusk sucks, then that's a big mistake right there. That is a big mistake right there. But that's just my immediate thoughts about the protected list and the exposed players that the Bruins have officially come out with for the 2021 NHL expansion draft for the Seattle Kraken. And the draft, I believe, is Wednesday. I'm not sure what time it is, but I believe it's on Wednesday. So just a couple days from now, and I'm super excited for that. I cannot wait. I'm so curious to see who the Bruins are going to take. Let me know who you think the Bruins are going to take. The Kraken are going to take. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're watching on YouTube, or reach out to me on social media who you think the Kraken will take from the Boston Bruins. You can find me on social media at Murphs_BostonST, where the ST stands for Sports Talk. And guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. It is currently 1:55 in the afternoon. I have roughly 5 minutes to wrap up this episode, download it, upload it, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for joining me in this locked and loaded, action-packed, info-filled episode 74. I really appreciate it. Thank you for understanding why I had to cancel Friday's episode, because the card shop, sports memorabilia store, Murph's Card Town and Sports Shop is a go, green as Christmas. I cannot wait. Videos, uploads, social media posts, news, info, all that to come very, very soon. But folks, thank you so much for joining me in this episode. I really appreciate every download, listen, and enjoy. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, etc. And you can also find me on YouTube at Murph's Boston Sports Talk over there as well. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Like I said, comment down below. And if you're new or haven't considered, please hit that big giant red subscribe button. Folks, that's going to do it. I will catch you for Fridays. I promise I won't cancel. Friday's episode 75 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. But between now and then, enjoy the rest of your week. And you know that I love you. And you know that I will always see you.